Hi, I'm Emma Cowling and I work with women in tech to help them be more successful by developing their self-belief and their resilience so that they can step into authentic leadership roles and become the leaders that we need in the tech industry. Women who are willing to be themselves and to be role models and to bring new ideas and new insights which will change the products that the tech world develops. Now I'm here to talk to you, I want to talk to you today about state of mind and how a deeper understanding of state of mind can help us as women in tech to navigate this male-dominated world. So with that introduction done, let me take you on a bit of adventure. So I want you to pretend and imagine that you're putting on a virtual reality headset and that you're stepping into a new virtual world, but this virtual world it's a world of the future, and the virtual headset is one of the future where actually it also gives you sensory information like taste and touch and smell, not just visual and auditory. And as you're in this world, as you step into this world, you notice that it's fairly sparse and there's not much around you. There's very little structure around, but you can sense that there is something there. And as you look around, you notice that there's a glimmer off in the distance, so you head over to see what it is, and you find that it's a river. And as you get closer, you realise that it's not just a river of water, it's a river of ideas. And there's ideas flowing through as they rush past, you start to pick some of them out. And as you look down and kind of see, one of these ideas jumps out at you. Wouldn't it be lovely to be in the countryside? And as you focus on that idea, it starts to swirl around and attract other thoughts to it. Ideas like, wouldn't it be gorgeous if it was a sunny day? What if there was a field of buttercups and a nice tree, a nice shady tree to sit underneath? Wouldn't it be lovely if the birds were singing? And as you see this whirlpool start to form, what you notice is that there's this beautiful day starts to be created around you. You start to just smile as you notice the smells and you hear the birds singing, and you decide to go off and do some exploring. And as you come back round to the river, you think, having done a bit of exploring, you think, oh, I wonder what else I can add to the world. I wonder if I can add something more by revisiting this river of thought. As you come over to the river, and look at the thoughts, another one catches your eye. This time the thought says, aren't you here to do something? This is a game, so there should be an objective, there should be a mission. Do you know what it is? Surely you should be doing something by now. And as you see that thought again, other thoughts, similar thoughts start to whirl around it, and a whirlpool starts to be created. And the pressure starts to build. You start to feel an intensity. The clouds start coming in, and things start to, the bird song starts to feel a bit more distant. You start to feel a bit more overwhelmed, and you start to feel like a load of shoulds. I should have checked before I came in. What am I supposed to do here? What is it that I need to do? And these feelings of self-doubt start to hit you and it feels like there's this thunderstorm building as the static in the air builds and builds and builds. And you're mesmerised by this whirlpool of thought, seeing that it attracts more and more. And as you watch it, you think, but I know how this works. All I need to do is find some positive thoughts to feed in there. Just need to look in this river and attract some positive, because they'll attract more thoughts like them. But as you look and search, you just can't see any. You get drawn more and more back to this whirlpool, and you can't escape. In the end, you break free away from the river and go and sit down and take a deep breath. And as you do so, as you take that breath, you notice that actually the thoughts, the intensity is receding, the clouds are rolling back. And as you just sit there and take a deep breath, you get some clarity. The things start to become more neutral. That pressure starts to disappear. And you just sit there and enjoy it for a while. Enjoy the relaxation that comes from that clear and neutral moment. And as you sit there, an insight occurs to you. The insight that comes through is that this world, this virtual world that you're in, it's not really that different to the real world. It's not really that different at all. In the real world, we have a river of thought. We experience 70 to 80,000 thoughts every day. And as they flow over us, we have no control of the ones that come to us and the ones that pass through. What we have some degree of control over is the ones that we pay attention to and the whirlpools that we create as a result. But we have no control over this flowing thoughts that come through. And in the real world, those thoughts, they create the world that we're in. They create our experiences. Our senses sense what's going on in the world around us, but those senses are processed by thought, and those thoughts get turned into experience, which is more thought. And that experience gets turned into memories, which is even more thought. And then those memories, they get turned into rules about how the world works and what we should pay attention to, which is deeper, more thought. And those rules, they tell us what we should pay attention to, and they affect what it is that we sense and how we see the world around us. So thoughts create the world around us. They shape our experience. And when we get caught in one of those whirlpools, an intense feeling starts to happen. As the thoughts whirl around and attract more and more thoughts, we get caught in a feeling, and that feeling attracts more and more ideas of the same thing. And when those feelings start to overwhelm us, whether they're ecstatic, happy feelings, or whether they're negative and pressured, both of those experiences, they're taking us into a particular state of mind. This state of mind is what then influences how we continue to experience the world. But it only takes us recognising that that's where we're trapped and stepping back and allowing that thought to settle. That's all it takes for us to do to change that scenario. We don't need to search for positive thoughts. We just need to see that the world around us is being created by thought. However intense those experiences, that world is being created by thought. And that actually we're okay. We're okay in that moment. It's just the world that we're experiencing is not as intense or as overwhelming as it seems. When we see that we're okay, we get clarity. And we get insight, and we find out what it is that we need to do next, what it is that makes best sense. So what I've described there is the human experience, the human experience of how our state of mind builds. But what does this tell us about how we should navigate? How can that help us to navigate this world? So I wanted to use a couple of examples to explain that to you. So the first example I want to introduce is a couple of years ago, my own personal experience. I went out to the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco, and some of you may know about this, but the Game Developers Conference is a huge conference where people from all over the world, thousands of people, come together over the period of a week to learn about how to develop better games and what's going on in the industry. Having worked with the games industry for about 5 years, I was there. But I'd had flu before I went out, and I was feeling just a little bit, and I still had a degree of flu when I was there. And it took me quite a lot to get to one of the days of the conference, but I really wanted to go because there was a session that I really wanted to go to. And so I got myself out of bed and I got there. And as I walked into the conference centre, I was hit by this wave of people, mostly men. In fact, all I saw were men, all of them dressed in black t-shirts, black jeans, all of them gamers, console gamers, and I just felt like I didn't fit in. Here was I in my white top and my brightly coloured blue skirt, just not really a gamer. I've worked with the games industry. I play mobile games, but I'm not a big console gamer. So I just felt so much like an imposter. I felt just so overwhelmed by it all. Now I managed to get to my session, but as I got there, I had to queue, and I really didn't want to talk to anyone. I really didn't think that I fitted in here. I didn't feel like I belonged. I just felt terrible. And when I got to the end of the session, I stumbled my way home, and I just felt overwhelmed and tired. And I know I went home and I had a good cry. I really didn't know what to do. A couple of days later, I took the next day off, had a good sleep, realising that I was tired. And a couple of days later, I went back. And as I went back and walked through those same doors, my experience was completely different. I saw more women. I saw lots of women. I saw people who were, while they were wearing black, they had lots of different colours within that. They had different coloured hair, they had different t-shirts with different slogans on, all making a statement and a difference, and wanting to stand out, wanting to be different. And in that, when I was there in feeling good about myself, what I saw was a group of people who celebrated difference, who celebrated that we are all different, and they're very welcoming. And that day I managed to talk to so many people. I went to lots of different sessions, and I came away feeling exhilarated, tired again, but this time exhilarated. A completely different experience. Now, the difference in that environment, and the difference in my experience, that wasn't because there were different people at that conference. The same group of people were there. The difference was actually my state of mind and how I was feeling at that time. And the thing that was important in what I did is that I didn't try I did try and muddle on through that first day because I really wanted to go to the session, but I didn't keep pushing myself to go back while I was in that low state of mind. What I did was take some time out to just listen to my body and to recover, so that when I went back, I really did feel like I was in a different place, and I did feel positive about where I was. And I think that's really important to understand. But the thing that also came through to me is recognising that when we're feeling low, we all feel like imposters. We can all feel like we all want to fit in. When we feel low, we want to fit in. We want to be accepted. We want people to welcome us. And when they don't jump to do that, then that makes us feel even more low. And if we feel like an imposter, we feel like there's a clique that we don't fit into. But when we're in a good place, we want to stand out. We want to make a difference. We want to be the person that has that new idea that contributes. We're much more willing to be individual and be ourselves. And so we don't no longer feel that imposter syndrome, because we want to be the imposter, the person that makes a difference. And that's completely different place to be in. And the other thing to see is that everybody experiences this. Everybody suffers from imposter syndrome. At some stage or another, everyone suffers from low moods, and it's a natural consequence of a low mood. But people show it in a different way. People can show it by withdrawing and wanting to kind of curl up in a ball and disappear. Or they might show it by being aggressive or being more over the top and attention seeking. They might do it. You might find that they are they're overly confident, and they become more cliquey, and they shut you out because they're feeling like the imposter, and they want to prove to themselves that they belong there. And when we see that what that is, that those behaviours are really just a representation of the other people's insecurity and their feelings of being imposter, it makes us feel more real. It makes it feel more human. And then when we see that all of this is just thought, this is a world of thought that we've created, that gives us a power to step back and step away and see that it doesn't matter so much, and that we are okay, that we don't need to figure out how to do this. We don't need to figure out what to do next. We just need to give ourselves a bit of time out to settle. So let me give you a second example. So as women in tech, we often face discrimination or judgment by others about our capabilities, about how good we are compared to the guys around us. And even though we know that we're as capable or more capable, quite often we find ourselves in a lower grade role or a lower paid role, and that's something which is part of the industry that we have to address. But one of the things that's really helped me in understanding this world and how we can navigate this world is seeing that these people that are judging us and assessing us and and discriminating against us, they're living in a completely different world. So I want you to just go back to that idea of the river of thought and the idea that our thoughts create our world. And the thing that I think is really useful in this is seeing that I live in my own virtual world. I have a river of thought of my own river of thought, which comes out in how I see my world. And in the same way, you have your own river of thought, and that comes out in the way you see your world. So while the physical world around us might be the same, the way we take that and the way we interpret that can be completely different. We will see different things completely. If, for example, if you're a detail-focused person and I'm a more strategic person, then we're going to see very, very different things in how the world works. We're going to see different things being important. And let's say that we came together for a discussion or to agree a way forwards about something. You'd be much more focused on getting the detail right and knowing what the detail was, whereas I'd be quite happy to kind of wave it away. Actually, I am much more of a detail person, but let's just stay with this for a while. So your world is about detail and mine's about kind of big picture. And let's say we come together and we come into conflict over what the way forward is. Let's say that happens. What's really going on? Well, first of all, there's this idea that your world is different from mine, so we're seeing the world different. We're trying to explain to each other something that without really taking the time to explore that the fact that we see things differently. But add into that the fact that I may be in a low mood, so I may be feeling insecure about some of the things that I'm trying to explain. So I may become defensive quite quickly about that. And at the same time, you may be feeling insecure and you may be feeling like defensive and doubtful about the things that you're proposing. So what tends to happen in that situation is that we not only both come defensive, but we also don't understand what the world that each other are living in. And so what tends to happen is that builds into a conflict, or it builds into a feeling of negativity, and we don't find a way forward. So if we both come together in a low mood, then we're not, or even if one of us is in a low mood, then that can be a really difficult way of identifying where should we go next. Change that to us both being in a good mood. Then when we're in a good mood and when we're feeling secure, we're much more likely to listen to the other person. We're much more likely to explore and listen to what's going on in their world. And we're much more likely to find that way of collaborating and identifying how we can work together. And so often in interactions, we come together and we don't recognise, number one, that we're in different worlds, but we also don't look at our moods. We don't look at our levels of security. And that can reinforce itself in a relationship. So when a relationship builds over a period of time, I had a particular boss who I just didn't get on with. I felt negative every time I interacted with them. I didn't know how to get through that. But what that meant was that every time I then interacted with them afterwards, I was going with this anticipation of the negative outcome. And so I was going in feeling in a low place to start with. And that was really, really tough. That didn't help the relationship at all. Now, so what am I saying here? Well, what I'm saying is that when we see that we're living in different worlds, and when we see that our thinking and our state of mind is contributing to the way that we're approaching particular things, it gives us more choice. It allows us to say, oh, do you know what, I'm not in a great place here, so I'm going to overreact. I won't say the things that are coming into my head. I'll take whatever they're saying and I'll try and understand what's going on. Or maybe we should park this for now and walk away and come back when we're both in a better place. Now, you may not have choice over that, but over the timing of the discussions or anything like that. But what you will have choice over is how you react to it and how you take it. And you can choose not to take it personally. You can choose that this is about the other person and not about you. This is about their world being different from yours. And when we do that, that gives us so much more power in how we navigate and how we choose to go forward and how we live in this world. And it gives us the ability to turn up the way that we want. And that's really, really important. So I've given you a couple of examples of how these ideas can apply in the world of tech and how they can help us navigate the challenging world of the male-dominated environment of tech as a woman. And I guess one of my main messages here is that we are working in a male-dominated world. Tech is a male-dominated world. It's being created by men. The rules of the world have been created by men, and that's a fact. And we are choosing to go into this world, and that's challenging. But we need to do it, and we need to go in there, and we need to be women in that world, which is tough. But it's only by us going and doing that and being women and navigating that world that we can start to influence and change the way that people see it. And we can start to bring the female energies and female powers like empathy and collaboration and all of those kind of very naturally female things. We can start to take that into this world and help it to open up, to help it become more family friendly, to help it to become less driven and achievement focused, and much more about making a difference to people's lives. And that is already starting to happen, but it's slow and it's steady and it's kind of chipping away. And we as women, as women in tech, working there, that's our mission, to do that and to keep on working away and to keep on making that difference. When we're feeling low, when we're feeling like we've not got the energy to do that, that's the thing that will keep us going. Knowing that we're paving a way for the next generation of women to come through. We're creating the role models, we're being the role models for those women to follow. So if any of those ideas resonate with you, if they jump out at you and sound like there's something that you'd like to explore further, if you've got any challenges that you think they're relevant to your life, then that's what I do. I work with individuals one-to-one to help them to understand this underpinning idea of state of mind and how it can benefit the way that they navigate the world. So if you're interested in finding out more, you can find me on my website at emmacowling.com, and I'm also on LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. So please do look me up and feel free to connect. And I hope to hear from you soon.